So there's been a huge stink for the last 30 or so hours for the My Hero Academia community ever since the latest episode of My Hero Academia Season 6 aired. And you're probably thinking to yourself, when is there not, like, an issue within the My Hero Academia community? Like, when is there not people complaining? When is there not people upset, etc.? And, you know, that's fair. To be fair, yeah, that happens a lot. But honestly, at this point in time, with just how much has happened within the anime to the manga, I feel like a lot of people that, like, really complain about My Hero Academia nowadays is either those that are just very passionate fans that want to see the series get better, or you have those that just want to attack it in any way because they just don't like the series to begin with, and they're only doing that just to make people upset. One or the other. But regardless of whatever side you kind of fall on when it comes to My Hero Academia, it doesn't matter. The point is that the latest issue that is going on within the My Hero Academia community is apparently because the sky is too blue. And I did not stutter. That is legitimately the complaint. And let's clarify. Let's legitimately clarify what is going on, why that is a problem, etc. So, this right here, as you can see on the screen, this is from the opening. The latest opening from My Hero Academia Season 6, which I'm just going to be straight up amazing. One of my favorite openings of the entire anime. High quality work, beautiful looking, opening and animation art. It's great. It really is a nice opening to really get the gist and the vibe of what arc we're currently in with the story. So I'm just going to say, great opening. And so when you see this visual, it's great. And people have been comparing this little scene that happens in the opening with scenes that happen in the latest episode. And this is the latest episode of My Hero Academia, as you can see. You can kind of see the full shot here. Obviously, it's a little bit grainy because this is someone probably taking a screenshot. But the point is that you get to see the sky is blue. And I want to point out here, when you look at the opening, you see it's raining, it looks depressed, gloom, doom, it looks bad. It looks really bad, like, in terms of just, like, the state of affairs within the My Hero Academia world is in a very bad state. So, when you see this, people are they're making comparisons, and they're like, okay, so what is going on here? Why is this all blue? Why is there such a huge contrast, so to speak, with the opening song? People are obviously upset. And the reason why I'm even making this video is because this is not the first time I have actually seen people complain about the blue sky within My Hero Academia. It's actually a very common complaint. I know that's shocking, but legitimately, I have seen this complaint for years. Not just like in the past 30 hours, but I've seen this complaint literally appear for years. Like, oh man, maybe back since the origin of My Hero Academia's anime, honestly. People are always saying, why is it always just, blue sky and that's about it? Why is there never any change in the tone of the atmosphere or the sky? To be fair, there is some arguments to be made with that. There is. I can definitely get behind some aspects of that, and I don't think, bringing up that topic is necessarily a bad thing. I do not. Now, let's actually just talk about this scene in particular, because that's what this video is focused on. Is this bad? Okay, is this blue sky bad for this scene of My Hero Academia? So, we gotta dive into the nitty-gritty. If you're an anime only, and you see the opening, you're gonna be like, why is it sky blue when you have something like this within the opening? And I feel like the opening was more of a contrast to really show the state of affairs, to really show just how bad everything is, but actually, within the manga, like the manga of this chapter when this happened, it was also a blue sky. Someone pointed it out here, and I actually am very happy someone pointed out this comparison, is that you see the sky is also blue. It's not rainy. You see, like, spring coming in. It's April and all that. And obviously, you see a lot of devastation and destruction. And this whole little moment here with Izuku on top of this building, it's a Batman moment. It's very obvious. This is like Batman perching over the entirety of Gotham and seeing what he can do to save the city. That's exactly what this scene represents. It's 100% exactly what this represents, because Horikoshi is a huge Marvel/DC fan. But anyways, the point is that within the manga, it was a clear blue sky. It's very apparent. It was clear. It's supposed to be sunny. You see, like, the petals and soccer petals and stuff coming through. It was to kind of demonstrate that despite how the beauty of the world is, obviously the effects of the country is really bad. For instance, destruction down below. It was a major conflict within the scenery, and it was symbolic. It's a very symbolic, moment for the manga. And so the anime obviously using a blue sky is definitely representative of that. It actually follows the manga accurately. So in terms of crapping on the original source, there is not really an issue with the sky being blue. In fact, if there is anything I necessarily have a problem with this scene, it's not the blue sky, it's the lack of, let's say, the sakura petals, or kind of showcasing it's really spring in this moment. You don't really see, like, sakura petals or anything, like blowing through the wind or anything like that. I think that is what is really lacking from this moment. It's not necessarily the blue sky. But, anyways, this apparently has been an ongoing issue for years. People have complained about this. I mean, obviously a lot of people have been doing comparisons to the scene, and this isn't the first time this has happened. I mean, we have scenes like this, people compare, like, the stuff with All Might and all that, and, the statue here. There's a lot of different examples, basically. It is not the first time the blue sky thing has ever appeared within My Hero Academia in terms of discussion and discourse. Now, am I saying that My Hero Academia doesn't have a problem with the blue sky? I'm not saying that. I do think that there is often times where the blue sky does take away from some of the scenes, like in the fighting in Shigaraki to happen in Season 6. I think it was great. I think Season 6 has been really good. I'm not even going to front. I don't think it's perfect, but I think that Season 6 has legitimately been a very good season. And regardless of how you guys feel about that, have any opinion you want, it's fine. If you disagree with me, it's fine. But the point is, I like Season 6. But one of the big flaws I will agree on when it does come to Season 6 was that fight with Shigaraki in terms of the sky. I feel like, yes, it was supposed to be clear skies, obviously. But I think that because of the foggy haze effect of just Shigaraki's destruction and destroying basically everything around, there should have definitely been more of a haze throughout the entire fight instead of just having a clear blue sky. Because you destroy a bunch of buildings, an entire city, and basically have it crumble down into ash, it's going to have a lot of dust everywhere. Wind's going to pick it up, dust is going to, flow. I feel like there definitely could have been an artistic approach with that, but obviously that did not happen. Now, besides all of that, though, I don't necessarily think the biggest flaw of My Hero Academia is necessarily the blue sky. I will say there is argument to be made for art direction. I will agree with that. That is definitely an argument to necessarily be made. But the reason why I'm talking about art direction is that it's very clear when My Hero Academia tries, like this is a really good example. When My Hero Academia tries to kind of break out of the norm, try to go beyond what it normally is, do different skies, different color palettes, different shading, etc., it really excels. Like, it's very clear, you can't deny it. Like, if you see this opening, it's very clear, and it makes sense why people were upset with that scene, because when My Hero Academia really wants to, it can do some incredible stuff with its art and animation. But most of the time, they play it very safe, and they do scenes that just looks very plain. And they just basically adapt it from the manga, which is fine, but they don't really try to add any vibrance or life to it. It just seems like they're coloring a manga panel. That's what it looks like. And I think that is definitely an argument to be made. And now, I'm not saying every scene is like that. I do think that there is a lot of scenes within My Hero Academia's anime that does stand out, that is really good, but I feel like most of the time, it does look flat. It does look like, they're trying in their own way just to color the manga panels and move on. And there's nothing necessarily completely wrong with that either, but once again, when you have, like, scenes like this, like, when you have, like, openings that really bring a lot of flair and life to it, and they add extra dimension to the characters in terms of just the background scenery, I think that it does a good job to showcase My Hero Academia could be so much more if it was done right. But is it the biggest flaw? Maybe. But I don't think it's anything that is necessarily worth saying it's the worst series to ever grace our presence in terms of anime. But it doesn't mean you shouldn't complain about it either. So overall, my stance on this argument, how I technically feel about the blue sky, there's some moments I agree, there's some moments I don't. And I think this current one, I do not agree with. I think that overall, it follows accurately the manga panel. Once again, if it was arguments about, like, sakura petals or just kind of showcasing more of its spring, I think that would be better, but it doesn't. That is the only issue I have with this. So, I'll leave it at that. I wanted to talk about this because I know I talk about My Hero Academia in somewhat of a negative manner nowadays, but I'm not going to just crap on it for the sake of crapping on it. I do like My Hero Academia. I really do like the manga. I like the anime. I'm a fan, but I will call out things when it is bad. I'm not gonna sugarcoat my words and act like it doesn't have problems. It does, but I will also defend it when it needs to be defended, in terms of just like, it doesn't make sense to complain about certain things. But regardless, I think it's an interesting discussion, but I think that this discussion is leaning more towards the blue sky than the actual problem. But that's about it. That's my 2 cents on the matter. You all have a wonderful day or night wherever you live. Be safe, stay healthy. Chibi out.